Yukon, after a 45-minute rain delay, we're just about ready to get back into action with Game 54 between South Africa and the U.S. I'm Steve Sabrin along with Joe Todd of Ballpark Broadcasting and, of course, our friends from Sports Canada TV with all of the camera work. We're into the top of the fourth. Brandon Bouillon coming up to bat for South Africa. 3-0 lead for the visiting squad.
I'll just give a quick recap for the scoring in the game. South Africa scored all their runs in that second inning, all with 2 out, a 3-run home run by Javier Frost, the left fielder. We're back into the game. Bouillon at the plate.
Tony Mancha getting back to work for the U.S. of A. He started tonight's game. And, Joe, we kind of talked off air about who would benefit the most from a delay like that, and there was a consensus that it's given the U.S. a chance to regroup.
Again, yes, the chance that, but you don't know how the weather affects either one of these pitchers. Both these pitchers might be a little tightened up. It was a little damp, a little cold, so you will know after about 2 or 3 batters on each side how well the pitchers have reacted, the starting pitchers have reacted to the weather.
Mancha for the U.S., Tidima Kakana started for South Africa. Playoff implications for the U.S. in this game. Looking for the double life in the championship pool. They need to win this game in order to help them out in that aspect. So Bouillon runs the clock full here as the fans start trekking back in. And a swing and a miss by Bouillon. Swung at would have been ball number 4, but marked down the strikeout for Tony Mancha. That'll bring up Duncan Small, who struck out looking back in the top of the second.
The 9th strikeout now for Tony Mancha in tonight's game. So very good output there by Mancha. You figure there's only been 1 ground ball out to the second baseman, Tyler Dudley.
Unfortunately, Frost put the ball where nobody could get it on that 3-run blast. Small now, settling in. Slap to the mitt for a strike. Good pop from Mancha. And Small will give the umpire a look of displeasure.
Small has to stand in there and stay with that pitch. There's a lot of movement on Tony Mancha's pitches.
Fly ball to right field. That should be hauled in by Ratliff, and he swallows it up for the second out of the inning. Lindsey Kirchhoff coming up to the plate. Kirchhoff got on base after an error on the second baseman, Tyler Dudley. And that started the chain reaction leading up to the 3-run home run from Javier Frost.
So Kirchhoff went to the right side of the infield. We'll see if he tracks back that way again.
And Mancha reaching for a little bit extra there to drive the count to 0-2.
Good waist pitch there by Mancha.
As we get back underway here, Japan and Denmark expected to start shortly as well. They had original 5:30 start time. They'll be getting back to work. That's sent to the shortstop side. Nice scoop, but a bad throw. And the second error of the game by the U.S. Kirchhoff again will get on, and that will be an E6 on the bad throw.
E6 on that bad throw. Gil Sines just did not plant his feet, the old step and throw. Gil Sines kind of lobbed that ball over there. Didn't have not enough strength on there to carry that ball. Would have been a real tough catch by Matt Palazzo, but Matt Palazzo unable to pull it in. Kirchhoff now at first base with 2 out.
William Thomason with a solid single the last time up. Swings that offering. You got to wonder if Signs was trying to be too careful, Joe, because it really looked like he was taking his time instead of getting up and firing it.
Yeah, he should have thrown it with a little more emphasis.
So Mancha's going to try to get out of the inning via the strikeout. And he just misses on the inside part of the plate, 1-2. One and two delivery. And punched out is Thomason. Caught looking, so this time the inning does not continue and the error doesn't come back to hurt Mancha. So we go to the bottom of the fourth with South Africa leading, USA coming up, more coming up on Sports Canada TV.
Save is a proud supporter of the 2017 WBSC Men's World Championship. The Yukon's #1 fence rental and propane supplier, Super Save provides for all your special event needs.
In Whitehorse, it's a 3-0 lead for South Africa over the USA here in game number 54. And coming back to play after a little bit of a short break. And just to give the guys a little bit of treat, I'll say rain delay one more time. A rain delay this afternoon. And coming to the plate for the U.S. will be number 2, Tyler Dudley, the second baseman. Dudley struck out looking back in the second. And Tidema Kekana back to work for South Africa. Experience has to play a big role here, Joe, as well, right, coming back from the break.
Exactly, yes. You wonder how much of a little bit of a warm-up, a little run quickly by the USA team. You wonder how much that Kakana had a chance to warm up over in the bullpen. We saw him throwing over there when the rain had quieted down a little bit. But who will carry the momentum?
Kakana comes in with a bullet. Just got word that Jeremy Manley is warming up in the U.S. bullpen. We know, Joe, you had talked to the U.S. coaching staff saying they're going to try to get their pitchers in.
Yes, they were going to pitch by committee.
There's a shot down the line, and that's foul. Dudley got a hold of that one, but pushed it out of play. They fixed up the infield very nicely. The outfield, of course, the grass slick and wet, so the outfielders will have to be aware not only for grip, but grip on the ball.
Exactly, and how well will the ball bounce after it hits the ground?
Three-two delivery, and just fouled off by Dudley.
Good little battle we got going here.
through the break, the South African team in their dugout doing some dancing and singing, keeping the fans entertained, trying to keep themselves into the ball game, and the positive energy's up. Dudley with another swing to stay alive. Anything close now with the 3-2 count, Joe?
Exactly. He has to be very protective of that plate. Inside, outside, he's got to cover it all right now.
And that's poked to the shortstop, and Bouillon will haul it in on the soft liner for the first out of the inning. And Pat Sagdahl's going to come in. He had a single back in the second inning, but was one of the 3 runners stranded as South Africa worked out of a bases-loaded jam.
A great pitch there by Kakana. Took a little bit off that pitch and threw off the timing of Tyler Dudley. Had to reach out.
And Kakana starting this at-bat off with a strike. Attempted bunt and fouled out of play. Our ballpark broadcasting colleague Lance Wing getting the gears about letting a fly ball by him. But he's broadcasting now, not fielding. 1-2 count on the batter. High and outside. Kakana couldn't get the batter to chase. Sagdahl's the center fielder for the Americans. Has some speed. Swing and a miss here, though. He won't get to use that speed as he goes down swinging. And Nick Mullins, who took a walk back in the second, the catcher, will step up to the plate now. And calm and cool is Kakana.
The only thing Kakana's got to be worried about, he's throwing a lot of pitches here to these 2 batters. Went to a full count, back to Tyler Dudley, and went to a 2-2 count with Sagdahl.
And a number of foul balls in between as well. Mullins takes a first pitch ball. Before the delay, Joe, we had talked about the American batters being patient. They seem to be a little more selective right now, forcing some higher counts. And good job by Mullins.
They're quite aware of the situation that Kakana has had to sit on that sideline for that 40-minute rain delay. They're hoping that he stiffened up a little bit. The cold breeze that set in, the temperature dropped a few.
And a ground ball to short. Bouillon with a nice throw. 6-3. And Mullins is erased as the States go down in order. And we'll head to the top of the 5th inning. South Africa has Frost, Chipapi, and top of the order, Pilati coming up. Top of the 5th on Sports Canada TV next.
Whitehorse Motors and Budget Car Truck Rental are the official vehicle suppliers of the 2017 WBSC Men's World Softball Championships. Visit www.budget.com for the best deals on car, truck, and SUV rentals. Open 7 days a week with airport and in-town locations.
Top of the fifth we go, and South Africa with Javier Frost coming up to the plate. The left fielder slamming a 3-run shot to left field back in the second inning. Tony Mancha back to work for the States. We had heard that Jeremy Manley was up warming up.
Well, in talking with head coach Danny Bruckert, he said that they were going to kind of pitch by committee, but that was going to be base dictated by the score. So right now he might have changed his plans. So Tony Mancha is still on the mound. We're in the fifth inning.
And Frost getting some support from his teammates on the bench. Watches that one sail high and wide.
They're hoping he can replicate his swing from back in that second inning.
Well, Joe, that's why they play the game, because coming into tonight's contest, South Africa with only 4 home runs as a team through the entire tournament, we didn't expect the pop to be the difference for South Africa, and they proved us wrong.
Exactly. Frost got all of that pitch and sent it deep over that fence. 260 all the way around if you're wondering about the dimensions of this park.
Now Frost battling with the 1-2 count. Just got a piece of that. Mancha with a pure look of concentration. South Africa pretty loose on their first base bench line. And Frost goes down swinging, this time around with a heavy hack. And Isaiah Chapapi coming up to the plate now, the catcher for this team in green.
Give full credit to Tony Mancha. 11 strikeouts to this point. You figure that we're at the stage now where there's only been 13 outs in the game, and he's got 11 of them. So he's doing his part.
Yeah, a couple errors for the U.S. up the middle of the infield. One of them costly. The other one was stranded on base. And Chapapi can't catch up to that one.
Other than that home run, there has not been a ball to the outfield. Oh, sorry, there was one. Fly out to 9 by Duncan Small. Don't think it was that deep, though.
No, Chapapi now will take a seat. Second out of the inning via the strikeout, and Pamolo Palati coming up to the plate. He's been a strikeout victim twice.
You expect a little more out of your leadoff batter. Palati wants to stay in that spot for the playoff rounds. You better do some work. Palati 6 for 18 in the tournament so far. 333 batting average. 1 double, 1 triple, and 1 home run.
Mancha changes speeds on him, and Palati fouls it off. 333, not a bad batting average, Joe, but from your leadoff hitter, maybe you want to see it maybe a little higher in the 400s, possibly 500.
Well, the big thing on that leadoff batter, you want him to get on base.
And there he is. He is on base with a solid single up the middle. That'll bring up the second baseman, Christopher Bond. In fact, the top of the lineup, Joe, the top 3 hitters in the South African lineup, that's the first hit in 7 at-bats.
Yes, that's that bottom part of the order is what did all the damage back in that second inning.
There's going to be a pinch runner here, possibly. Palati went to the bench, and they're going to bring out, looks like number 2, Gareth McGregor Langley to run. So switching outfield, switching the first baseman out for a speedy outfielder.
Now riding at first base for South Africa, number 2,
And Ben trying with that swinging slap hit with the running start. I don't know about that idea, Joe. Just settle in, keep the feet still, and drive it.
Especially with the speed that Mancha's got, he's got no chance of hitting that ball. Keep moving around like that.
Quickly, 1-2 the count on the batter now. Mancha trying to get him to chase on that one. Dominican Republic and Argentina still slated for tonight on this diamond. That will immediately follow this game. That's lifted high on the third base side. Shortstop's got a beat on it and able to haul it in to end the inning. So one hit is stranded for South Africa. We go to the bottom of the fourth inning, still the 3 spot on the board for the visiting squad. USA will have Castillo, Signs, and Ratliff on deck. More coming up on Sports Canada TV.
WBSC Men's World Championship merchandise, from hats to sweaters, t-shirts to duffel bags. Visit the official souvenir booth, located in building number 2, just off the grass picnic area.
Going to the bottom of the fifth inning, Kevin Castillo's going to start it off for the US of A, down 3-0 here in this round-robin game. Day 7 of competition, playoffs scheduled to start tomorrow, and now we have the sunshine gracing our fans here at the ballpark.
That 5-minute rule is going back into play.
Tidima Kikani still into work for South Africa.
The drying agent that they applied on the infield has really done a great job.
Shot down the third base line, but foul. Kind of looks like a kindergarten finger painting, the way it's all spread out. So just put their hands on the diamond and smothered it all in. It does its job.
We had the Yukon College Day Camp kids over here yesterday. Maybe they touched it up.
1-2, the count on Castillo, who walked back in the second. One and two delivery. Castillo watches that one sail low. 2-2 the count now on the batter. And that one just missing to the outside.
If you look at the placement of the first baseman, Pilati there, playing at least 15 to 20 feet off that bag. Going to have great range there, even to get back to that second baseman if it's a hard, sharp grounder to anyone in the infield. Going to need some quick movement there.
Well, Pamalo Pilati back in the defensive setup after being lifted for pinch runner in the top of the inning, so... And there's a strike 3 call. Kevin Castillo threw his bat to the third base side and started a trot down to first, but Morrissey punches him out for the strikeout looking. Gil Signs now comes up to the plate. He was a strikeout victim back in the second.
Great camera shot there by our Sport Canada TV crew. Thank you. United States have to get a little bit more aggressive with 2 strikes. They have to be protecting that plate, getting a bat on every pitch they can.
Down to 8 outs now. It's amazing how fast this game can roll. If you're not careful, your back's up against a wall.
Signs attempting a bunt there, trying to get something going. Signs a number 9 batter for the United States.
Good call there. South Africa playing well back, defending against the hard shot. Signs had lots of room to lay down a bunt, came down to execution. That was low. 3-2 now. Count runs full for the batter. I think this next pitch, Joe, is going to tell us a lot about the state of Kakana. And just got a piece of it. Not backing away from the challenge.
Signs following it up, but Chapapi not unable to squeeze that 3rd strike.
Fouled off again by Signs.
Good battle at the plate right now. Who's going to win out on this battle?
Haven't seen Kakana change speeds a whole lot, Joe, dependent on the rise ball. And
he only threw
location.
One changeup or slow ball today.
That one misses on the inside. He tried to change up speeds there a little bit.
Good time at bat there for Gil Signs. Any way to get on base for this Team USA.
Ratliff now up to the plate. He's grounded out to the second baseman twice in this game, 0 for 2 officially, and has a runner on first now to work with. Signs taking a good lead at first. Infield at the corners playing in. And the ball gets by Chapapi, and Signs scampers down to second on the pass ball. Chapapi almost taking his head off the pitch before he fully had control of it, tipped off the top of his glove and went back.
Well, I think he was a little concerned about Signs doing some running there.
At this point, Signs really, from a South African defensive standpoint, doesn't matter. You're up by 3, so the USA coach talking to home plate umpire Mike Morrissey and wondering what's going on. Coach not too happy, whatever the result of the conversation was.
Danny Bruckert there in your camera shot, head coach of the United States.
Slam to the second baseman. They'll go to first and get the out. Signs scampers to third, but now there's 2 away. And for the 3rd time tonight, Ratliff plays catch with Christopher Ban. Zekman coming up to the plate for the U.S. He walked back in the first, struck out in the 3rd. USA trying to push its first run across the plate. They have the runner at third base, but Tidama Kakani's really been able to dig deep and get out of jams this evening.
Well, United States cannot walk away from this opportunity here to score. Got to put a run on the plate here. They left the bases loaded back in that 2nd inning.
Swing and a miss by Zekman.
Big hard swing there by Derek Zekman.
Trying to get rid of the ball in a hurry. Even if Zekman is able to get on, they'll have Palazzo coming up to the plate, and they have their hot bat Ochoa due up after Palazzo. And a foul off on a pitch that was certainly out of the strike zone. So Zekman finds himself in a hole here, but Kakana's got to be smart. Him and his catcher have to work together.
Advantage to Kakana in this situation now. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Nice block by Chapapi on a ball that was in the dirt.
That sun is actually generating some heat. Might have to take a layer of clothes off.
Fouled off by Zekman. I got chilly and damp there for a while, but sunshine's turn to play here to warm up the stands. Twos are wild on the board. And a pop-up down the first base side. Nobody's going to get there. It's in foul territory.
Good job by Derek Zekman to protect that plate with 2 strikes.
Stays alive, too.
He's got to be willing, if Kakani gives him that outside pitch, be willing to take it that other way. Any way to get on base here. The United States has to start that rally, even with 2 out.
And with the outside pitch, Pilati playing way off that first base line. If Zekman can sneak it down, that could go for extra bases. Swing and a miss. Foul ball. Nope, they're going to call it foul ball. Mike Morrissey very emphatic behind the plate there. Zekman with the good eye there.
Kakani taking a few steps off that pitcher's mound. Thinking he was going to get the call, but Mike Morrissey had different thoughts. He does have the final say.
Payoff pitch. Slammed deep to left field, but not out of the park. Hauled in by Frost. And Kakana pitches himself out of the inning. The U.S. strands the runner at third, and South Africa goes to the top of the 6th. Due up, Molakwani, Bouillon, and Small, the heart of the South African order. More coming up on Sports Canada TV.
Designated driver, grab a free shuttle from one of our several locations. For info, visit 2017 Men's World Cup.
Into the top of the 6th we go. So Sabi Molakwani due up. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Brandon Bouillon, the 4th batter, and Duncan Small rounds out the trio that will start off for the visiting squad. Tony Mancha back on the mound. Does that surprise you, Joe, or do you keep him in the game as his strikeouts have been pretty good?
Well, I think that they had a little change of strategy now that they're down some runs here later on in the game. Denny Bruckert must be coming up with a little more strategy now, so he's decided to rest his bullpen in lieu of the games for tomorrow now.
Again, the U.S. trying to play for a double life. They get the win, gives them a chance to get a double life in the playoff pool. If they lose, more than likely knocks them out of that spot.
The United States is doing a defensive change here. I'm trying to figure this out. The infield is still intact.
We'll get you that information as soon as it's passed along. Molakwani is 0 for 2 on the night. Striked out back of the first, and he grounded out to the second baseman. Here's the danger, Joe. As we stated earlier, we're now into the third time this lineup has seen Mancha. And with the lead, South Africa has an opportunity to perhaps tack on a little more, knowing Mancha's capabilities.
Exactly. They would love to put some back-to-back hits going against the United States and pull in some insurance runs. So they have that little bit of a pillow to rest on for that last 2 innings.
We have a delay here as the U.S. giving the umpires their substitutions. I like the setup they have here, Joe, and I don't know if it's done in other tournaments, but they have an umpire that actually deals with the substitutions, which allows the home plate umpire not to have to scribble everything down and cause a longer delay. That substitute umpire then tells the scorekeepers.
Now, this is the only tournament I've actually seen this done this way at. Very good idea, though.
Helps move the game along. Molakwani now settles into the batter's box, and Mancha ready to go back to work. Molakwani making no doubts what he wanted to do there. And that's going to be chipped to the left field side, but foul. Just topped it a little too much and pulled it. Able to hold up on that rise ball.
Nice pitch selection there by Tony Mancha with 2 strikes. Just a little bit of a waste pitch, high and outside. Evened it all up now, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Molakwani fooled on that one. He'll go down swinging. And Brandon Bouillon stepping up to the plate. 2 strikeouts in this game for the 4th hitter in the lineup. Bouillon trying to break out here. Hasn't had the best tournament, I'm sure. And look out, foul ball from the other diamond comes streaking in as Japan and Denmark decide to interrupt this contest. And quickly, Bouillon goes down 0-2. Almost looks like Joey's pulling his head out a little too early, not keeping that chin down.
Yeah, he's not keeping his eye on the ball at all.
And he's going to be punched out on that call. And quickly, 2 away here. Duncan Small, the third baseman, struck out looking back in the second and flew out to the right fielder in the 4th. South Africa, with that early lead, they've been unable to pad it. And when you keep a good team like the USA close, especially when you get down to the last 2 innings, could spell trouble.
Tony Mancha and the United States team have done a great job of shutting the South Africa team down ever since that big 3-run second inning. Now it's time to get their bats rolling. 2 more calls there for the bottom of the 6 and 7. See if they can get something rolling on the offensive side of the game.
Small able to stay alive, but well behind that Mancha offering. Chris Abbott and Lance Wynn standing by for the nightcap of the day. Dominican Republic and Argentina with Pool A ramifications on the line. That game will start immediately following this one after a little bit of a warm-up. And Small will strike out. And Mancha does it himself. 3 up, 3 strikeouts going to the bottom of the 6th inning. More coming up on Sports Canada TV.
For South Africa in the 6th inning, they scored no runs on no hits. There were no USA errors and no runners left on base. Leading off for Team USA, the first baseman, number 4, Matt Palazzo.
U.S. starting off with the heart of their order in the bottom of the 6th. Matt Palazzo will lead it off. Ochoa and Dudley to follow, but combined 0 for 6 on the night against Kakana. And it looks like his velocities stepped up a little bit here, Joe, feeling the momentum in his favor.
Palazzo, the team captain of this U.S. team. He's going to be the guy to come out and lead this program.
Hot shot to the first baseman, and look at that as Pilati able to glove it down.
Perfect defenseman placement there by Pilati, picking up that first out.
Palazzo didn't even leave the, didn't even run down the first base though. Up to bat, Ochoa now. Struck out back in the first and flew out to the right field. And Kakana falls behind here, 2-0 to the batter.
United States has to get something on the board here. Need a base runner.
I'm impressed by the focus by South Africa, Joe, and the fact of in a tight game right now and still pressing. Huge swing by Ochoa there. Fans starting to get a little energized as well as they sense something happening here in the latter stages of this contest. And there's a punch to center field. That will hang and hauled in by Thomason, and Ochoa erased on the fly out. 2 down for Tyler Dudley. Struck out looking the second, and a soft liner to the shortstop back in the 4th.
South Africa have played an error-free game so far.
Way to go, Joe. You just jinxed it.
Yes, probably, but give them full credit because that was probably one of their downfalls all week.
Well, if you're the U.S., you're thinking right now bats aren't working. Hopefully you're getting all the kinks out in tonight's game and ready for a big explosion in the playoff round, but you like to go in on a winning note.
Can Tyler Dudley be that spark plug to get something rolling here?
U.S. had a base runner back in the first, stranded him. Bases loaded in the second, unable to push anything across. And the next base runner didn't end up on the paths until the 5th. And that was Signs, who was left stranded at third. Swing and a miss. And Kakana sits down the U.S. in order in the 6th, and will go to the top of the 7th. South Africa with Kirchhoff, Thomason, and Frost due up. More to come on Sports Canada TV.
to 3 USA, no score. The 2017 Men's World Softball Championships is powered in part by volunteers. A big thank you to the record number who signed up to help us for this event.
3-0 lead for South Africa over the U.S. as we head to the to the top of the seventh, pardon me. Good job by South Africa along their dugout, getting into a huddle, making sure everybody knows what they need to do, keep the focus, and stepping up to the plate now is Lindsey Kirchhoff. He's reached on 2 errors tonight, Joe. The first one charged to the second baseman in the second. The other error charged to the shortstop in the fourth. So Kirchhoff will lead this inning off, and the middle infield, I'm sure, is pretty aware.
Gloves down, will be ready.
Still Tony Mancha on the mound to work. So the whole idea of a couple innings each for their 2 or 3 pitchers kind of out the window. Mancha going the complete game. Right back to the pitcher. Mancha makes a nice play and makes sure of the throw.
Great defensive play by Tony Mancha to get off that mound, plant his feet, pick that ball up, and fly it over to first base.
1-3, the recorded out. So William Thomason coming up to the plate. Center fielder singled back in the second, struck out looking in the fourth. His 3rd attempt at the plate tonight. Watches that one cruise in for a strike. Can't catch up to that delivery. So Mancha mowing them down in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and now the 7th. Picks up another strikeout. Javier Frost, 1 for 2 on the night.
16 strikeouts for Tony Mancha tonight.
16 strikeouts, and you're behind 3-0. Frost overpowered on that one. Trying to change up speeds there, misses. Frost able to get a bat on that, but that will go out of play. Not fooled on that one. Count runs 2-2. Defense playing straight away. Off-speed pitch. Not delivered well. Swing and a miss. Frost on a rise ball outside of the strike zone, so he goes down swinging. Mancha able to take care of all 3 outs in the top of the 7th. And we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Due up for the U.S. Pat Sagdahl, Nick Mullins, and Kevin Castillo. We'll see if the U.S. makes any changes. A lead for South Africa. More coming up on Sports Canada TV.
Official supplier of the 2017 WBSC Men's World Championship and a proud supporter of Yukon's softball community.
And the U.S. sends Pat Sagdal to the mound, the center fielder. A single back in the second and a strikeout in the fourth. 1 for 2 on the night. And Tidema Kakana in to pitch the seventh, trying to finish what he started this evening.
Last call for United States.
You took my line, Joe.
Yeah.
Early bird gets the worm.
I think we did last call last night, too.
1-1 count on the batter now is Kakana getting encouragement from his teammates. Fouled off there.
Good aggressive swing by Sagdal, though. These boys have to stay aggressive. Anything close to that plate, you want to get a bat on that ball. You want to get on base somehow. I don't care how.
Counting Kakana's favor, though. And a grounder to second base. Nice play. Got to get it down in a hurry, and he's able to do so. As Ben makes the 4-3 putout. He's been busy tonight. But I liked how he handled that ground ball, Joe. He made sure he had it first and made the nice throw to first. Probably would have liked him to charge it a little bit. But with the diamond the way it is, he was able to get down on it. 1 out.
The toss kind of handcuffed Pilati, but Pilati did a good job keeping control of that ball.
That's why you have to have someone who can catch on first.
Yes, that was a tough throw, though.
Nick Mullins up at the plate. He's walked back in the second and grounded out to the shortstop in the fourth. U.S. down to its last 2 outs of this game. Of this seventh inning, anyway. Chapapi talking to the umpire about where the pitch location was. Mike Morrissey gives him his answer. We don't want to say game because there are extra innings, Joe, if the U.S. can come and tie this.
Potentially.
That's sailed out of play to the left field side. Is it playable? And they make the catch. The left fielder sliding into foul territory makes the grab as Javier Frost makes a great defensive play. It looked like that ball may have been able to sail out of play, but Javier Frost at the fence slides feet first and grabs the second out of the inning.
Great range by Javier Frost going out from that left field position, running probably 25, 30 feet, catching that ball at the edge of the fence. Second out of the inning.
Kevin Castillo takes a strike. The third baseman walked in the second and struck out looking in the fifth. And Kakana, 1 out away. And the South African cheering starting. A one-hitter for Kakana tonight, I believe. A couple of walks, 3 in fact. There's a blast, center field. Will that hang in play? Back as the center fielder reaches out but can't make the grab. And Kevin Castillo with the solo shot will break up the shutout. Dead straight center field. William Thomason went back as far as he could. No chance on that one. And the U.S. still has life. Top of the order, or pardon me, the ninth hitter of the lineup, Gil Signs, due up. Strikeout in the second and a walk in the fifth. So Tidema Kakana still has some work to do.
A great job by Kevin Castillo. All with 2 out. Pressure situation there.
There's going to be a pinch hitter here, Joe. Chase Turner, number 77, is going to bat for Signs.
Thank you.
We're waiting for a pinch hitter maybe from the U.S. So Turner steps into the game, a little more power. First time, though, seeing Tidema Kakana tonight.
Chase Turner 3 for 8 so far in this tournament. 375 batting average.
And look at the work on the corner by Kakana.
Chase Turner has to be very aggressive here now with 2 strikes.
This place is going to go crazy if Kakana completes the strikeout. And there's a pop-up. That's going to flare into center field. Nobody at second. And Pilati outruns the base runner and gets there in time. Both middle infielders went for that pop-up, and second was empty.
First baseman Pilati and pitcher Kakani both ran out to second base to cover that bag.
So they'll bring in Gil Sines re-entering the game. So Chase Turner does his job, gets the single, and Sines will go back into the game at first as the runner. So they exchange power for speed. Matt Ratliff is the batter due up, and he's coming to the plate. And now South Africa has to be aware with the tying run coming up to the dish.
You got good wheels now at first base, but Gil Sines back up to the top of the order. Good little rally the United States has going here.
Well, Ratliff has grounded out 3 times to the second baseman. So if you're Christopher Ben, you want to be ready. Keep an eye on Sines at first, whether or not he gets the steal sign here.
I don't think you want to take the bat out of Ratliff's hands here now. You still need a couple of good sticks here to manufacture a couple more runs.
Two and one the count now on the batter. Kakana's game here. I don't think South Africa is going to go to any sort of bullpen. They don't have pitching depth like some of the other teams here. Kakana's the workhorse. And there's a shot to center field. That's going to get over the center fielder's head and over the wall. The U.S. has tied it. A 2-run shot. And Ratliff breaks his 0-4. And it is now tied at 3.
Great 2-out rally here put on the board by this United States team. Led off with that home run by Kevin Castillo, single by Chase Turner, and now a 2-run shot. Matt Ratliff tying the game up here in the bottom of the 7th inning, all with 2 out.
Derek Zekman coming up to the plate. He's 0 for 2, a walk in the first, struck out in the third, and flew out in the 5th. And Zekman was the scheduled hitter. We'll see if he comes out.
Now coming to the plate, the left fielder, number 24, Bryce Kay.
Bryce Kay must have went in the game for Derek Zekman. We were not told of that change.
So Bryce Kay into the lineup for the U.S. will bat. Took over the left fielder's position for the U.S. They made some defensive changes. So an opportunity here for a walk-off for the U.S. here in the bottom of the 7th inning. They came into the game 3-0, and again, the importance of padding a lead when you have the opportunity. South Africa had the 3-0 lead back in the 2nd inning, and then were unable to get any more base runners in through home plate.
But a great job by Tony Mancha to shut the door.
Oh and 2 now on the batter, Kay. His teammates trying to encourage him to drive the ball hard on a line. Bouncer to third base, throw to first, and they get the out. So we're going to extra innings as Kay is erased on the 5-3. And due up for South Africa, the catcher Isaiah Chapapi, and then the first baseman Pilati, and then Bond, the 3 due up. More to come on Sports Canada TV.
USA in the bottom of the 7th inning, they scored 3 runs on 3 hits. There were no South Africa errors and no runners left on base.
Top of the 8th inning we go. International tie-breaking rule comes into effect, and the South African squad will start with Javier Frost at second base as the runner, and Isaiah Chapapi will be the batter. While scheduled to be the batter, we'll see if South Africa has other plans. Really, Joe, South Africa, really too bad for them going into the 7th with the 3-run lead. But, again, the importance of, yes, padding your lead, but as you mentioned, Tony Mancha really buckling down and shutting things down for the U.S.
Mancha with 17 strikeouts out of the 21 out so far.
And he's going to pitch another inning here, it looks like. Now, does this surprise you for him coming out in the 8th with a tie game?
Oh, he's on a roll now. It's all his game now.
So it looks like number 16, Pokani Mapedo, is in as a pinch hitter. Batting from the left side, as you can see. Squares to bunt and takes the second strike. And this is where it comes down to execution, Joe. Who's the better executing team with that runner at second?
Who can lay down that bunt? Who can manufacture that run? Could be the big difference going forward.
Pop up on the infield. Catcher calling for it. Nice and loud. Nobody comes near. And Mapedo is erased with the pop-up.
You would have thought that they would have been playing a little small ball to try and advance that runner with no one out.
So Pimolo Pilati up to the plate. Had a single back in the 5th, a couple of strikeouts, 1 for 3 on the evening. And Mancha still has the zip.
All 6 runs in this game have been scored with 2 out. South Africa's back in the 2nd inning, United States in the 7th inning. Never say die.
And Mancha quickly ahead 0-2 in this one-on-one battle. Top of the lineup for South Africa has been pretty quiet. And that just missed. 1 for 9 combined, the top 3 hitters this game for South Africa.
South Africa's only had 1 hit since the 2nd inning.
And Pilati will sit down after the swinging strikeout. And Christopher Band coming up. Struck out in the 1st and the 3rd. Flew out to the shortstop in the 5th. Still the runner on second. And this game tilting into the U.S.'s favor continuously here.
Mancha still on that roll, his 18th strikeout.
That was called strike. Van able to hold up his swing, but it was there. 0-2 now. And Mancha just continuing to get stronger here. His changeup really hasn't been working tonight, Joe. Every time he's tried to take a little spin off the ball, it's not been accurate.
Yeah, he's aware of that too. You know if your pitches are moving or not, so he stayed away from that pitch. Nick Mullins has done a great job behind the plate, calling balls and strikes.
Mancha is asking Morrissey if that was an attempted bunt, but I think it was more of a defensive swing than anything.
Protect himself.
Backing out of the box. Count remains 1-2. And reaches back for a little bit of extra speed and South Africa retired in order in the top of the 8th, and the U.S. has a chance to win it in the bottom of the 8th. They've got the heart of the order coming up in Palazzo, Ochoa, and Dudley, and they'll have Kay starting off at second base as the runner for the international tie-breaking rule. More to come on Sports Canada TV.
For South Africa in the top of the 8th inning, they scored no runs on no hits. There were no USA errors and one runner left on base.
Getting ready for the bottom of the 8th inning, U.S. starting with a runner on second base. It will be Bryce Kay. Palazzo stepping up to the plate as a leadoff hitter. Got an update from Diamond 1. Japan leading Denmark 2-0 in the early stages. Japan does need to win that game to keep pace with New Zealand and Venezuela. Japan would finish second in their pool with a win. So here's Palazzo. And Tidama Kakana back out to work the 8th as both pitchers have gone the distance.
Great pitching performance by both of these throwers.
Matt Palazzo with a strikeout, a flyout, and grounded out to the first baseman back in the 6th. And the runner scampering to third as Chapapi couldn't handle the pitch. So now Zekman just one away from scoring.
Going to take some real good defense. South Africa infielders playing right on the line now.
All Palazzo has to do is just a little bloop single will do it.
Kakani just throwing some peas right now.
Little chip on the 9th fairway onto the green.
It's very important to get that first out in extra innings.
Slap to the pitcher. Runner holds. They'll go to first. And Palazzo will ground out. Nice play by Kakana to look the runner back and then make the out at first with the toss. That'll bring Eric Ochoa up to the plate. He's 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout. And Ochoa, the leading hitter on this U.S. team coming into tonight. You know the winning runs at third, walk them and get the force set, possible double play, but get rid of the hot stick.
Again, they just probably aren't aware of how good Ochoa's bat has been. That's where it takes some advanced scouting to look at the stats, keep aware of the who's coming up.
And even if you're trying to pitch around him a little bit, you're wasting pitches on Kakana, who's thrown all night long, and he's got 3 straight balls on the batter.
Again, you do have the automatic walk here, too.
And they're not going to take it. 3-0 count. And they kept it outside on Ochoa, so he'll take 4 straight balls and end up at first. Tyler Dudley, 2 strikeouts tonight. Now South Africa will convene in the middle of the field. Dudley has been stone cold this game, but those are the guys you got to watch out for in those extra inning situations. Now, here's a question for you, Joe. Do you walk Dudley to load the bases and then create the force out at home plate?
That would be an option that you would discuss. I would probably play that card.
Because then you create the force out at home, a little grounder. You go home and then double them up at first. Force out everywhere. So
Marcus Tan now running at first base for Eric Ochoa.
So they put speed at first. Dudley is the scheduled hitter. Number 2 will hit. So things interesting here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Again, Dudley 0 for 3 on the night. He also has an error. So he'd like to make amends. Standing on deck is Pat Sagdahl. He has a base hit tonight, 1 for 3.
That infield for South Africa back a step. Personally, I'd pull them back in unless they're anticipating throwing that double play into action. But with the speed of Marcus Tan at first base and Tyler Dudley at the plate, that's going to be tough to pull off.
Whereas if you walk the batter, create the force out all the way around, you could play a little deeper and at least get an out at home plate on a ground ball. 1-2 pitch. Shot down the third base line. That'll do it. The U.S. will win the game. Tyler Dudley with the winning RBI. Single up the third base line will drive home Kay, who comes around to score with the international tie-breaking rule. And it's a 4-3 win for the U.S. over South Africa. But danger time for the U.S. We'll go to our player of the game, Joe, and I have an idea who it may be.
The player of the game for my selection would be Tony Mancha, the winning pitcher in this game. 19 strikeouts, no, he did not issue a walk tonight, and just allowed 3 hits in the whole game. 2 back in the second inning and 1 in the fifth.